nobody gets
Yes.
this struggle between trying to raise a family, but grow a business. And I found myself one day like crying in my closet. And I was like, who is going to take care of me?
Yeah.
Like, I just had that pivotal moment where I was like, man, I'm taking care of everybody else, all of my clients. You know, I'm taking care of my family. I'm raising humans. It's the hardest job in the world. And I'm like, literally nobody is taking care of me. And in that moment, I literally heard God speak to me, and he's like, I mean, if you don't advocate for your self-care, like no one else will.
Mm.
And I was just like, wow, it was such like this eye-opening moment. Like he spoke like, I'll be there for you, right? But I also can't do it all for you. Like you have to at some point accept the responsibility to take care of yourself, and you're not. And it was over the next several months that I was really trying to figure out like, man, I just need a community. Like I need some moms who own a business and who get the struggle, because it is so hard. And I'm sitting in my prayer time and I'm like journaling, and I hear God speak like, you should create that community. And I was like, nope, I heard this wrong. Like I did not, nope. Like I ignored the call for so long until it was so loud that I was like, I can't not listen to the call. And so I went out on this journey of literally trying to put together an event. Like that's what I started with. I didn't have an audience. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't have a community. I didn't have many followers unless they had hired me to do photos. And I was like, I don't know what this means. So I literally went on YouTube and I was like, how to plan an event.
Wow.
And it said, well, you probably need an audience. And I was like, yep. And they were like, you should probably pick a date. And I was like, yep. So I literally put on an event. I think I started planning in February and the event was in July.
Wow.
And I had 30 women show up.
Great.
And from then on out, it's been me navigating this idea of like, how do I be a community founder? I turned into a coach at the same time. And it's been this beautiful evolution of, I started as a photographer, but I knew that was never the end. I knew that was just the catalyst for this big next, which is the purpose gathering. So that's it,
cool.
in a nutshell, but I'm sure there's more.
Well, there's so many layers to it that like it's a yes after another yes after another yes, but it's also so much attuning to the Lord on your needs and his desire for you. And I can definitely raise my hand to just the journey of entrepreneurship can be very isolating, especially if the people in your close circle don't have any idea what you're doing or why you're working 80 hours now that you quit your 40-hour-a-week job, and like you can't turn it off and you love it so much. And so you want to talk about it all the time, but they don't get it. And it can really kind of play with your mind. Like, am I an abnormal? And yes, you are. You are abnormal, and that is okay. So I love that you went after that initially to just say, I need community around me. And God was allowing you to do that. To do it as an event, it takes some gumption, right? I love that you did it in that capacity. I shared with you on my show that ours started as just a membership, and I didn't even know what a membership was. I didn't know that I was ever going to be a coach. I just was like, hey, who wants to gather around a table twice a month? And that's what we did. It just so happens that it was a membership. I just didn't know that. And so sometimes we just say yes unknowingly, but then God comes through on the other side specifically and strategically to say, hey, this is how this works. And so I love that. I'm curious, with the people that you brought together, were they all moms and entrepreneurs? Was that the avatar?
That was the avatar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think my tagline was like, how to juggle all the things.
Yes. Yes.
So it was a 1-day event, and there were 5 speakers, including myself. And we talked about all the various areas of like motherhood, marriage, self-care, business, like all the different topics into one day. And it was so powerful and jam-packed, but I still look back on it and I'm like, how did I even pull that off?
Right. Have you done it again? Have you done it again?
That was the only time, but I do have a new one coming up. It's
Tell me.
the Purpose Gathering Live 2.0. This is what I don't know what it's going to be called yet, but
What's
Purpose
the
Gathering
variation of
Live.
time? when did that happen versus when is this happening? What's the gap?
So 2019 was my
Okay.
first event.
Okay.
And then I went down this, almost 5-year journey,
Yeah.
and the new event is happening in April of 2025.
All right. That's so exciting. I'm so excited for you. I'm so proud of you. And do you
Thank
have
you.
like a number of people that you're hoping that will be in the room?
So I'm hoping for 75 to 100,
Awesome. I love that.
which is a little bit of a leap because I had
Yeah.
30 at the
Yeah.
first
It's a
one, but I've
double, if
also
not more.
grown my,
Of course.
my influence and my audience,
Yes.
over the past 5 years. So
So
I'm super
excited.
excited about it.
And tell me how the process and evolution of the motherhood journey parallel to entrepreneurship has really evolved, and like how you mother, what your kids know about what you do. What has that relationship been like?
Yeah. So I think like the founding of the Purpose Gathering, so pre 2019. So my daughter is now 13 and my son is 10.
Yep.
So she was born in 2011. So it's kind of like, from 2011 to 2019 was like the trial and error period where I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to figure it out by myself. And podcasts were not a big thing.
Right.
Like YouTube was there, but it wasn't as like saturated with information as it is now. So I just didn't feel like there was a lot, of happening. But I actually went to school to be a teacher. So I had some child psychology and I really love positive parenting. So I felt like, I was doing a good job with parenting, and I was feeling like a lot of people were really struggling with that. So I really did lean heavily into the motherhood piece and that side when I first got started with the Purpose Gathering. And I still infuse that. But I feel like over time, it has shifted into just finding this harmony between both and really leaning into how to manage your time well.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if any of your listeners can relate, or maybe you can relate to this as well. But when my kids were younger, I felt like I was just counting down the days till they started kindergarten because I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing. Like I'm going to have all this time
Yeah.
on my hands and my business is going to explode. I'm going to be like amazing. And then I sent my youngest off to kindergarten and that did not happen. Like
Yeah.
I had all this time and it was just more time for me to waste. It wasn't a time problem. It was a time allocation problem.
Good.
And so then I went down this journey of figuring out, okay, well, I've got all this time on my hands right now and I'm not managing it well. How can I manage it well? And then COVID happened in the middle of my son's kindergarten year.
Oh
I was like,
man.
I have been waiting
No.
my whole life for this. And now he's home, like the extended spring break. He
Yeah.
never went back. And then I just felt like God was really tugging on my heart to homeschool.
Oh wow.
And I was like, no, I can't do that. So again, I was like, not doing that,
Yeah.
ignored the call. And I was like, I'm sending them back. So as soon as I could send them back to public school, they were off back to school. But it just nagged, and it was like, I knew in my heart of hearts that is what I needed to do. But there was fear, like I'm going to put myself right back into that position and I'm going to homeschool on purpose. And like, this is going to look so different. It's going to be so hard. My business will never grow.
Yeah.
And so that was really a pivotal time when I did decide to homeschool. I was like, okay, I have to learn how to get laser focused. I don't have very much time, so I'm going to have to be strategic. And so that's when I really started leaning into time management and systems, which is now like what I teach in my group coaching program.
Sure. And